But where was little Kay all this time? He was in the great cold palace. The walls were of driven snow, the doors were of cutting wind. The snow had formed into more than 100 enormous halls. All were vast, empty, glittering, and icy cold. The largest was many miles long. In the midst of it was a frozen lake, and there the Snow Queen liked to sit when she was at home. Little Kay was blue with cold, yet he did not feel it, for the Snow Queen's kisses had turned his heart into a lump of ice. He was alone in one of the great empty halls, playing with pieces of ice and making them into patterns. The Snow Queen had said to him, "If you can make the pieces of ice spell the word eternity, I shall set you free and give you the whole world, as well as a new pair of skates." Then she flew off to slay some snow on the high peaks of Etna. But try as he would, Kay could not make the word, and that was how Gerda came upon him at last as she wandered through the palace. She flung her arms round his neck and cried out, "Kay, I have found you after all." But Kay sat there quite still, stiff and cold. Then Gerda wept hot tears, and they pierced right through to his heart and melted the ice. She began to sing, "In the vale the roses grow wild, children play all the day, one of them is the Christ child." And Kay cried out, "Little Gerda, dear little Gerda, where have you been all this time? And where have I been too? How cold it is here, how huge, how empty." He hugged her, and they laughed and cried for joy. Even the pieces of ice shared their happiness. They danced about, and when they lay down again, they formed the word that the Snow Queen had told them to make. Eternity. He was free. Kay and Gerda took one another by the hand and made their way out through the halls of the great palace. Wherever they went, the winds lay still, and the sun broke through the grey clouds. They reached the bush with the red berries, and there was the reindeer waiting for them with a sleigh. He carried Kay and Gerda to the home of the Finland woman, where they warmed themselves and learned how to find their way home. Then they went on to the Lapland woman, who came with them to the boundaries of the cold country. There they parted from the woman and the reindeer with many a fond farewell. And as Gerda and Kay stepped forward, they saw the first green shoots of spring. The birds began to twitter, and out of the forest rode a girl on a splendid horse with a pair of pistols and a red cap on her head. It was the robber girl on her travels into the wide world. The horse was from the golden coach. "You're a fine one," she said to little Kay. "I wonder if you deserve to have someone running to the end of the world for your sake." But Gerda smiled and asked her to call on the prince and princess when she passed that way and find out how the crow was faring too. Then Kay and Gerda walked on hand in hand. All around them the woods were beautiful with flowers and fresh green leaves. At last they saw in the distance the high towers of their own city and heard the church bells ringing. On they went till they came to their own street and the stairs to grandmother's door. Everything stood in the same friendly place. The clock ticked comfortably. The roses growing across the roof waved at the open window, and grandmother smiled with joy to see them. It was just as if they had never been away. Kay and Gerda sat in the sunshine under the roses, and both thought of the old song and the part it had played in their story. In the vale the roses grow wild, children play all the day, one of them is the Christ child. The cold, empty splendour of the Snow Queen's palace had gone like a bad dream. They were together, never to part again, and it was summer, glorious summer.